welcome. I don't think I've introduced myself yet. And Tanishkia, hi, welcome. So I just finished, as I've said, my first week of lectures of class and my second year. And it's been a week and a lot has already happened in 1 week. You would be surprised. So I think I really just wanted to hop on here and reflect on the week and share a bit of what has been happening and what I've learned from my first week of lectures and of being back at university. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a second year student and I'm studying a STEM degree, actuarial science, yes, that's me. And yeah, one thing about STEM degrees, women in STEM, they're not easy. It's challenging, at least to the average person, which to me it has been. And by the grace of God, I'm in my second year now, and the first week of classes were so interesting. I didn't know what to expect, I will say, but I did expect, okay, first week of classes are going to be a bit more chilled and it's basically just going to be introduction on the first day, which for the most part it was. And I didn't really expect lecturers to like really do work, but then I also, a part of me did, okay, because I was like, okay, it's second year, like surely it's going to be a step up from first year, right? And I was not wrong, but I wasn't completely right either. So I expected introductions, which is what we got on my first day. I went to the different lectures that I had for the different modules that I have, and most of them were just giving us an introduction to the course, giving us some admin details. However, it all changed when we started working and somehow finished a chapter on the first day in one particular module. And I was like, what? So the way that they've structured it is in such a way that the first week of classes this week that I just finished are mostly revision from the previous year, from first year, and then they build onto that revision, because the revision is the foundation, and then they build onto that foundation in the next week. So the weeks to come, that is where, you know, things are gonna really move. But what shocked me was the fact that, you know, we dived straight into work, and it actually was, the pace was actually kind of insane, because I thought it would be a step up. Not only was it a step up, but it was also a ×3 speed on first year's work. And it took me a day to realize that, okay, wow, okay, so this is the pace, you know. So I've just been trying to adjust to the pace. The pace is much faster. And yes, whilst we are doing revision, some of the revision is revision from like first semester of my first year, which is most of the knowledge. I don't know if I've retained it. I remember it, but do I completely understand it, remember it? No, to be completely honest. But it's okay. I'm grateful at least for one module I was able to do a bit of revision in the holiday. And so it's a bit easier for me to grasp things, but the pace, however, I will not lie, it is faster. And so that's one thing I've had to get used to in this week. And I just want to reflect on a few things that I think I've learned over this past week. And so given that bit of context that I gave you about classes and the pace, the first point I wanted to talk about a bit is routine. Okay, so first week of classes, I know for those of you who are first year, you're only now starting to actually get into a proper university life routine. And it's okay if you took this first week and first few days of classes to actually just get into a routine. With routine, I think it's so important for you to establish, okay, what am I doing in my day? It doesn't have to be too detailed, but there needs to be, I think, a few like set things that you do at a specific time or between a specific period that should be clear. For example, waking up, then maybe showering after you wake up, and then eating your breakfast, and then going off to gym if you have time, or going to classes, and then when you get back from classes, eating lunch at the specific time, and then after lunch you then attend another class, or you either get into some homework and you revise, etc. Those key things that will help you to have a general sort of, I'd say, flow to your day or structure to your day, so that you can build everything else around these key things that you do. Okay, so I think that's how I view a routine. For me, a routine is not only like having a to-do list and doing every single thing on that to-do list, because it could change, but I have set things in a day that I do regardless, like waking up, washing in the morning, eating breakfast at a certain time. Like, I have those things that I always do, and so it's easier for me to be able to then build a schedule around these things. It's okay, it's really okay if you were not really sure of how to start your days or how your days were going to go, and if you just went with the flow and didn't have a set, list of things that you wanted to get done at a certain or particular point of time. It's okay, it's fine, you're learning. So I want you to have grace with yourself, and just remember, start with key things that you will always do in your day, and everything else, the other tasks that you need to get done, have it revolve or be built on from the things that you already do. I hope that makes sense. Okay, and then this takes me into my second point, which is time management. Time management, here we all know. But I'm becoming better and I'm learning. And with time management, so I have a routine. I know what I do. Or I know the flow of how my days go usually, and I know when I have time to do things other than the set things that I already do, such as revising, doing some homework, maybe practicing some extra math problems, etc. So for me, it's been a bit, like, I haven't been the most consistent this week with following like my written schedule. So I write a schedule every single day. Like, as I go through my day, I know what I need to do, and then I write down things that I want to do. I haven't been consistent in terms of times. Okay, I've actually really struggled this week to really, like, I've gotten things done, but following it at the specific time frame that I put it in for myself to do. It's been hard, just purely because I think emotionally, like, I just, not emotionally, but like time-wise, it would take me longer to do a specific task than it would take me to do another. So sometimes I do one module and do work from that module, but then it would take me a bit longer because of the amount and content that I'm dealing with and the amount of the content. So it has been hard for me to keep to the time parameters that I set for myself to finish that specific module's work. However, I will say that just with time, like giving yourself the grace and being like, okay, it's fine, and just continuing and being able to do what you can with the time you have, that is important. And so it's important that you set your schedule in such a way that you don't limit yourself and that you don't overexert yourself at the same time, and give yourself enough time to go over time, if that makes sense. So let's say, for example, I wish I had an example. Okay, I'm gonna use my iPad because why not? This is where I write all my things. Okay, let's say this is from yesterday. So between these times, I had math, that is like revision that I had to do, or work that I had to do that are not lectures. And then you can see I had lectures. I scratched a few things out. But I remember yesterday I did not start at 6:10 with FRM, which is financial risk management. That's a module I have. So I didn't start at that time. I started a bit later. And instead of beating myself up about it, I just did the little that I could within about 30 minutes or so. I did that, and it was actually quite effective. And then I had dinner at a bit later, but I managed to end my dinner at the exact time I said. So that was set for myself. So that was 19:35. So at 25 to 8, I ended dinner, and I started with economics, I think 19:37. Maybe 20 to 8 if I'm not mistaken. And I did economics. So as you can see, I try not to beat myself up if I don't finish a task or get to a task at the specific time that I put it, or that I place it there for me to do. And that's okay. It's truly okay. And this week I've just been trying to, you know, be graceful and tell myself like, okay, it's the first week. I'm still getting used to having a set schedule and doing things according to a set structure. So it's okay. From next week onward, I need to stick to these times, but it's a process. And I think more than anything that I've learned this week is that I need to be gracious to myself and give myself the grace I deserve, because I really am trying, and I'm not just sitting and doing nothing. I am working. I'm trying my best to work and keep up with all of the work that I have waiting for me and that I have had waiting for me. So yeah, this takes me to the next point that I want to touch on, which is rest. Rest is what I want to touch on next, because I think out of everything, this is the one thing I've struggled with a bit the most, besides time. Like, time has been okay because I always make time. Even if I go overtime or I'm under time, I make time for what I need to, and I try to get as much done as I can within a specific time frame. However, one thing that I've been really on and off with is resting. And by resting, I'll speak about just how I felt. So it has been the first week of classes, and I surprisingly found myself 3 days, let's say 2, on the second day of classes, already feeling so tired and exhausted. And I think I was a bit stressed and anxious in the beginning after the first day, because I told you the speed was quite fast, like pace was fast, and I got used to it, and I kind of stressed myself out because I was trying to pressurize myself and tell myself I need to get this done by then. Like, I need to be able to be on top of it for all of my modules. Like, I need to be trying to get ahead, but also not necessarily ahead, but to stay on par. And not that I wasn't, I just, I didn't have enough time to do all that I wanted to, and because of that I sacrificed valuable sleeping time. And I had 8 a.m. classes for, I think, okay, I didn't have one on Monday, but after Monday, all the way to yesterday, I had 8 a.m. classes, and 8 a.m.'s meaning I need to wake up earlier. So because of that, I couldn't sleep in, and I also sleep late, and I wake up very early for the first 3 days after my first day of classes, and I sacrificed sleep because I was stressing myself out, telling myself that I needed to get this done. I needed to, finish and go through this one chapter. And mind you, I have other modules as well. And I have 5 modules. So for one module, I had to do we finished the chapter in a day, so I had to go over that again. And it takes time, because when I study, I want to make sure I understand. I don't just do it to read through it and to remember. And memorizing also takes time. Not that I was memorizing, but I was trying to remember things and actively recall them and make sure that they were in my long-term memory by going and repeating them and going over and over and over again and repeating it. But it took time, and because it took so much time, I would find myself spending too much time on one module or 2 modules and then not get to the other module, which stressed me out because I was short on time, and the next day I had class and the pace was really fast, and I just wanted to keep up and make sure that I was up to speed and. So I think you can imagine how I felt. And for me, the easiest thing is to cut my sleep, which is not good, because I felt it. I felt it because I woke up early and I had to sit in an 8 a.m. lecture, which was okay. But then after 8, like, my mind starts to get a bit foggy and it doesn't concentrate as well. And that's me. It's a personal thing. And I've just not rested properly for the first 3 days after the first day. And it was only yesterday, which is Thursday, that I told myself, okay, I'm taking a break, I'm pausing, and I'm going to close my eyes and take a nap. That was the first time I took a nap in this week. And oh my, thank you, Jesus. It was the best nap in my life. And it's just the way that, so I actually had a class before I took that nap. I had a class within an hour from the time that I took the nap. So I had an hour to nap, or a few, let's say 50 minutes, because I usually walk 10 minutes before the time to get to my class venue. But basically, I set an alarm to wake me up after the nap for the wrong time. So my class was at 1 and I set the alarm for 2, but I was supposed to wake up to 1 and I set the alarm for 2. Okay, and I told myself, okay, I'm gonna take a rest and a break now because I'm just not feeling energetic and I feel tired and my brain feels foggy and I feel fatigued and I just want to sleep. But I set my alarm for the wrong time, but I didn't realize that and I go sleep. And it's like something wakes me up, the Spirit of the Lord wakes me up, and I wake up and I'm like, I still have time. Me thinking that, okay, I can go back to sleep and let the alarm wake me up, but something was like, no, you know what? I'm already awake. It's okay. Let me just get up and I feel good. Let me get ready and leave. And I checked my phone. I'm like, okay, it's like it was 1:45. And I was like, okay, so I have like 15 minutes left. Well, technically 25 because our classes start on the hour, which is 10 past 1 or 10 past the specific time. But anyways, and then I'm like, okay, I'm getting up. And I felt good. I felt more re-energized. I felt more focused, more fresh, as to put it that way. It gets to the time that I thought I set the alarm for, and the alarm doesn't go off, and I'm like, what is happening? Why is the alarm not going off? And I check my phone to come and find out that I set my alarm for 2 whilst my class was going to start at 1. And that is how tired I was. I was so tired and fatigued that I set the alarm wrong. And had I not woken up and not waited for my alarm, I would have missed the class, which would have been stressful. But thank God, His Spirit woke me up, and after just sleeping and resting for a bit, I felt energized and I got the courage to get up and get ready to leave for my class. And because of that, I was able to realize that I actually almost did not make it to class, because had I slept on and waited for the alarm to wake me up, I would have not been able to go to my lecture. And so I'm grateful. And it just showed me like, wow, I was really tired. And it really once again opened my eyes to how important rest is, how important sleep is, especially for me. I study such a demanding degree that takes almost most, if not all, of my brain power, because I'm doing so many calculations. Oh my word, the amount of formulas that I need to know again for one module only is insane, but it's okay. Yeah, it's just so much calculations, and especially math. It takes a lot of my brain capacity because I think deeply and I need to solve problems. And it's like math in every single module now. So I need to be well rested and well energized. And in order for me to be well energized, I need to rest. And I want to encourage you, if you're studying a STEM degree, if you're just studying anything, if you're a high schooler, please don't underestimate the power of rest. And funny enough, yesterday when I checked my phone and I checked verse of the day, guess what the verse was? Verse of the day on the Bible app was Hebrews 4 verse 10. And I read this verse like after I took the whole nap and I chose to rest. I saw it like at night. Hebrews 4 verse 10 says, "For anyone who enters God's rest also rests from their works, just as God did from His." And this just to me emphasized that rest is important, and I did the right thing by choosing to close my eyes for a bit and take a little nap, even though I had such a busy day and I had so much to do, and just choosing to have some quiet time and taking a break from all of the work that I was doing and that I was exposed to. And it did me so much good, because guess what? In the class I had at 1, after I took that nap, I was so much more awake and I caught on things so much quicker. Like the work just came naturally to me. The understanding came naturally, I'll say. And after that, like even studying yesterday when I got back from my class and lectures, I was so like, I don't know, it was just like, it felt good because I felt like I was actually learning and I wasn't trying to force it and force myself to stay awake. I was actually actively studying and I was awake, and I really enjoyed it because I felt like I was understanding concepts and grasping it all, because I felt energized and I didn't feel tired. So it helped. So I just want to emphasize how important rest is, and it doesn't have to be for a long period of time. For me, all it took was like 40 minutes, plus or minus 40 minutes of taking a bit of a break, closing my eyes and sleeping. That's sometimes all it takes. And I almost also, I will say, one last point, prioritizing things other than academics. So for me this week, it was really hard to make certain choices because I obviously, there's, like I said, pace times three. There's so much work that I have to do. I'm not yet completed. I have work waiting for me and I'm going to get to that soon. But given that and all the work that I had and just how overwhelming things felt in the beginning, I had the choice of deciding, okay, am I going to stay in my shell and only focus on my academics so that I can do as much work as I possibly can, whilst potentially just completely ignoring my mental sanity and just focusing on books only and potentially burn myself out in the process as well. I could have done that. Or would I, even though I wasn't comfortable with it, take a break, little breaks from my work and actually focus on prioritizing my physical health through exercising, going to fitness classes that I attended last year, and also prioritizing my spiritual health by going to my home style sessions every single Wednesday from church. And I had that choice that I had to make over my academics. And it was hard. I didn't actually want to go and exercise and attend fitness classes. I almost thought I was too busy to even go to homestyle, which is insane because how can I be busy for an opportunity God wants me to use so that I can get closer to Him and get to know and learn more about Him? But in the busyness, you should always prioritize God. That's most important. First, prioritize Him and making sure that you also prioritize yourself, taking care of your body, of your mental health, and not losing touch with reality. Don't get too immersed in academics that you lose touch of your surroundings. Okay, that's something I think was the biggest mistake I did last year, was just like being in my own little bubble and shelling myself in from this world and not really getting out of my shell a lot. And I don't ever want to do that again because I know the consequences thereof. And for me, it was bad. It almost led to me leaving and giving up because I was just so depressed and so anxious all the time because I was only focusing on academics, and that's unhealthy and I wouldn't want that for anyone. And so I encourage you to prioritize other things as well besides academics. Yes, academics is important, education is important. However, it should not be your entire existence. Okay? Don't place your value in that only or entirely, okay? And try something new, try a hobby, touch grass, take a walk, speak to a friend. I did that recently. It was the realest conversation I've had this week. I spoke to a friend that I haven't seen or spoken to in a long time. Doing things away from your academics and then coming back to them afterwards is going to do you more good than the hobby you think it is going to do you, okay? Not looking at a math book for an hour is not a sin. It is not a crime. You're allowed to do that. Okay, I think that's one of the this is all for my reflection session of this week. It's been an eventful week, but it has also been a good one, and I'm grateful that I'm finished with my first week of lectures, and I'm grateful that God has carried me through and that I'm still here and I still have a reason to smile and love. And today's Valentine's Day, so I'm gonna try and have a bit of me time after I finish a bit of the work first, and take care of myself as well in the process, and not forget that God trusts me and that He wants me to take care of myself as well, and He wants you to take care of yourself as well. Don't ever put yourself last. The closer you stay to God, the more peace you'll feel, the more protected you will feel, the more sane you will feel, okay? Remember, we're trying to put and place God in the center of our lives always. because that is the doorway for us to really heal and to be the best versions of ourselves that we can be. So yeah, I hope that this video blesses you and that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give this video a like, please comment below and subscribe for more content. Mic drop. I hope you have a wonderful day, evening or morning, and I'll see you soon.